everybody. All right, today's lesson is kind of put together, and I wanted to share this with you guys before you start. The dates that I have on some of the screens are like totally off, and I took two videos and I kind of combined them together. So I totally hope that I am not confusing you when I'm doing this today, and if I am, please let me know. But I'm sort of doing this out of order today, okay? So your handout that I'm referring to is the one that I just gave you. It has work on tone, and it has work on comprehension questions for Act 2 of A Christmas Carol, and it says quiz on it, but that's not the quiz, because remember, you have your unit test on Friday for this. And the other thing is we're going to work on connotation and denotation, but to be honest with you guys, I'm going to show you a tutorial, a review of connotation and denotation first, and then we'll go into the assignment on tone, and hopefully this will all make sense. So just bear with me.
Hello, today's video is going to focus on connotation and denotation of words. By the time you're done, you will know the difference between the two, and you'll have a pretty good idea of how to tell whether a word has a positive or negative connotation. First, a word's denotation is its dictionary definition, or its literal meaning. For example, the denotation of the word denotation is a literal meaning. All words have a denotation, and synonyms have similar denotations. Like the words stink and aroma have similar denotations. They both mean having a smell. But the difference between stink and aroma are the emotions that surround those words. Next is a word's connotation, which is the emotional meaning of a word or how it makes you feel. Connotation is the difference between walking into my house and saying it stinks and walking in and saying that it has an aroma. Words have either a positive, neutral, or negative connotation. Just about every word carries some sort of connotation, which is why word choice matters. You can often tell a word's connotation from its context. Let's take a look at nosy versus curious. So our first sentence is, our nosy neighbor peered through the window at our family's cookout. How rude! Using context clues, we know that our nosy neighbor is rude, so we can figure out that in this case, nosy has a negative connotation. The word curious has a different connotation in this sentence. The curious dog walked up to the stranger and wagged her tail in a friendly introduction. We see the words wagged her tail and friendly. We know that dogs wag their tail when they're happy, so we can figure out that this curious dog is not a threat. So, which word should we choose? Upon unwrapping 2 tickets to Disney World, the little girl blank in sheer delight. Smirked or grinned are our 2 choices. We know that a smirk is a sarcastic face and a grin is a real smile. Context clues tell us that the little girl was feeling delight, so we can assume that she would have given a real smile. That's how we can figure out that the answer should be B, grinned. Remember, a bigger vocab means that you'll be better at differentiating connotation, and you get a bigger vocab by reading more. The more you read, the better you'll be. Finally, use a dictionary to help you figure out a word's connotation. They'll often give you hints and tricks along the way. Thanks for watching my video on connotation and denotation. If you need any help with any other topics, please let me know about it in the comments below.
The very first ELA standard that we're going to tackle for 2019 is going to be Nevada Standard RL 7.4, which is to say that students in the state of Nevada in 7th grade should be able to analyze the impact of word choice on a section of a story or a drama. So today we're going to focus on tone. And so by the end of class today, hopefully, you will be able to determine the tone of a text based on the author's word choice. And since it has been a little bit of time with winter break and all, since we have covered what tone is, we're going to watch a video from Shmoop that will hopefully refresh and review for you what tone is.
We speak student.
We know that every good story has a bunch of parts. Plot, setting, theme, point of view. The list goes on and on and on, and, well, you get the picture. But today we're gonna talk about tone. See what we did there? Tone refers to the emotional feel of a piece of writing. For example, if your BFF passes you a note in class and makes you snort, the tone was probably pretty funny. Or if your teacher writes a note to your parents about how you tend to snort in class instead of pay attention, her tone might be pretty stern. Tone depends on what's happening in the story. The setting, the events, and how the characters interact all play a part. It can be happy, sad, mysterious, whatever emotion the story provokes in the reader. Even boredom, though hopefully that doesn't happen. What's more, the tone is generally connected to what the main character is feeling. As a reader, we're meant to identify with the main character, so whatever they're feeling is a pretty good hint about the story's tone. And since the tone is connected to what's happened in the story, it can change over the course of the story. It's rare to read a story where everyone's happy all the time, so we wouldn't necessarily expect a story to have a happy tone from start to finish. Because yes, even too much happiness can be a little boring. That's why we stopped watching Barney the dinosaur as we get older. Well, some of us do. So let's think about the first few chapters of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. When the book starts, Harry isn't the darling of the wizarding world. He's a lonely kid living under a staircase with the Dursleys, a family that doesn't treat him very well. Naturally, Harry's pretty sad. The tone is pretty straightforward here. Harry's the main character, so the tone ends up being what he's feeling, aka sadness. Things start to change as the story gets going, though. As Harry's about to turn 11, owls start bringing letters addressed to him, which his uncle tries to destroy. With all this excitement, Harry's sadness gives way to new curiosity, which, you guessed it, is the tone of this part of the story. After a while, despite Uncle Vernon's best efforts, the Dursleys get a visit from Hagrid, a half-giant wizard who whisks Harry away in order to get him ready for wizarding school. As Harry finds himself plunged into the world of wizards, he becomes extremely excited, and so do we. And yep, so does the tone. All that's to say that tone is pretty important in a story. It's the story's emotional heart and soul. It's what makes us care and laugh and cry. Now, if you excuse us, we're going to reread Harry Potter for the 100th time. Did our tone sound excited? Bingo! That's 'cause we are.
Also, if you really think about tone, and think about like if somebody sends you a text, sometimes you read it in a tone that's not intended. So the best example I can give you is if somebody sends me a really long text and I'm in a hurry or I don't have a chance to really respond, but I want them to know that I read it, I might send just the letter K. But the person who receives it, they might look at that K and think that, oh, that person's angry with me, like, K, I got it. Or maybe that you're getting annoyed with them texting you all the time. So, I don't use K for that purpose, even though it's the easiest thing to do. And sometimes I don't even use the O and the K together as an okay, because I don't want it to sound like I'm mad at that person. Like if my son asks me a question, can you drop this off at Dad's house? I don't always say okay, because I don't want him to think like I feel he's annoying me. I will actually spell it out, O-K-A-Y, when I send him a text, because I don't know the tone that he's reading it in. So when an author in a drama or in a piece of fiction, their word choice can really help you as a reader to determine the tone that they're intending for you to read it in and to understand that. So dialogue plays a big role in this, and paying attention to the clues that the author puts in his words will help you to determine tone. So if you look at the handout, Tone in Drama, it says, in a drama, tone plays an important part in the dialogue or the lines spoken by characters. Word choice is a huge factor in tone, and it can send signals to the reader about how the character is feeling and how the lines might sound when voiced by an actor. And so you have 6 examples down there. For each piece of dialogue below, write an adjective to describe its tone, and then you're going to underline the most important word or words that help you to determine tone. So we do have some tone words in our notebooks, in our binders, I should say, but I didn't really think that it was the greatest list to work off of. So what I did is on Google Classroom, I put a list. Okay, and this truly is probably the best list that I've ever found for tone words, because not only does it give you tone words, but it also gives you a definition of those tone words. And that's like the problem I've had in the past with any list I've given to students, that there's always a bunch of words that are on there that they don't even know what the meaning of that word is. So it doesn't always help them to determine tone. However, this list is so big that I don't want to print it off and put it into your binders because it's huge. So what I did is I posted it on Google Classroom. So in a little bit, you're going to be getting a Chromebook for each group of you, and you're going to be working with partners on this. So for each group, you're going to get a Chromebook, and you'll be able to log into Google Classroom, and it doesn't matter which one of you log in because you're not doing any work there. But if you can look on the screen here, you can see this is our class page. And if you scroll down, you'll see that I posted material. This is way back in December that I posted this. It's called Tone Words and Definitions. So you can click on that. And it is a huge list of tone words with definitions. All right. So basically what you need to do is to read the dialogue that's on the handout and to find a tone word in this gigantic list that best fits that particular line of dialogue. And then you're also going to underline the words in the dialogue that help you to select that particular tone. And I know this is a huge list, but I really wish you would look through the list and select the best word that's there, not just go, okay, I'm just going to go with the A's because that's the first page I got open. And so every tone word that you select today will start with the letter A, because that shows me you didn't look at the tone list at all. You just tried to rush through and get this done, which is probably not the best way to go with this. So you may need to do a little bit of searching through this list to find the proper word that you want to use with this today. This is all we're going to do today, so the rest of this handout will probably attack in our next class together. So it is something that you're going to keep in your binders, but I would like for you to be able to complete this today. If there's any questions, please let me know before you guys begin today.